best explains the laws of logic or the existence of the universe in the first place.
Why is the creation of the universe such a central thing to why you should believe in God?
It's the beginning of the Bible, you know.
No, but how the universe was created, right? Because none of us know. Literally no one ever will probably know how the universe started. Ever. So, if that's the case, right, and it is, you don't know the Bible's true. You don't know the Quran's true. You don't know we're right. None of us know. It's all just blind. We have educated guesses. You have blind assertions, right? And that's all we have, right? So pretending that and knowing how the universe created is why you believe in God is so funny to me. Because, really? Well, I can't not believe in God. I won't know how it all started. And it's so irrelevant to you. It's unbelievable.
Many of them won't be turned by any logical or atheist arguments because they've spent their entire life in the church and they couldn't possibly admit to themselves that they have wasted so much time doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And, some people do eventually come round to the idea after years of thinking about it, and suddenly they're analysing the things they're being told, and it finally gets to them, and they finally turn. But a lot of people, I'm not willing to admit it, I've sunk so much time into this.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people with recently with cryptocurrencies, and they knew the rug pull was coming, but they didn't want to believe it. And then they lost thousands because they were too deep into it for so long.
Or guilt, or all those things. What best explains the rise of Christianity, as you mentioned before, with
women?
The thing that best explains the rise of Christianity is nobody understanding how the world works, and also not liking the fact that they're basically serfs in a time and place where it doesn't care about them or their existence and offers no help to them, and somebody comes along and goes, hey, I know everyone says that all this toil is just all you get, and then maybe you get an afterlife where it's more toil, like in Hades or Sheol or whatever. Jesus comes, somebody comes to your door, or comes to your house, or whatever, you're meeting with some people, and somebody's there, and they go, hey, did you know that there's this guy, Jesus, and he said that, us poor people, and us weak and meek, disenfranchised people will inherit the earth, because, God, his version of God is going to come down, and he's going to take all the bad people, right, and all the rich people, and all the people that are lording over you, and you're going to lord over them in the afterlife, and all you have to do is believe. Well, it's no wonder that a bunch of people, started to believe. Editor me, forgot then, remember now, yay. So back then, everybody believed in all the gods. It wasn't, I believe in the Roman gods and not the Greek ones. You believed in them all. Right? All the gods existed. It wasn't even that you believed in them. It's that you called on their aid when you needed them, and what gods you called on depended on where you lived, what house you lived in, your family, all these myriad of things. Because there was loads of gods. There was the main gods like Zeus, and then there was lesser gods like Poseidon, and then there was the even lesser gods that were a god of a town or a city or a family. And then somebody comes along and goes, well, Jesus says, right? And then you don't go, oh, it's this god or this god. You go, oh, it's all the gods. So he's part of all the gods. And then eventually when you get a bit more power, you go, it is only my God. If you do not believe in my God, it is time to die.
You believe in God? No. Dead. You believe in God? Yes. You believe in my God? No. Dead. My God has a bigger dick than your God.
Because it's not like, I don't know.
It's the dream, isn't it?
It's not like somebody came along with a hat, right, and decided to read, some stones with some magic stones behind a curtain.
Dum 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 dum.
Dictating to a person that can't see the stones.
Yeah, and then had to rewrite the whole thing.
and it's not like people in ancient Judea, right, and Rome, knew what stars were, knew what quantum physics was, understood biology, atoms, bacteria, cells. They all definitely understood all the things that we know now. They just chose to live in squalor and not with any of the modern conveniences. Like, really? If you came along now and Christianity was never a thing, and you went, hey, I found this old book and it says that all this stuff happened, nobody would believe you. The only reason that people believe you now is because you've been around for 2,000 years. If you guys came along now, we'd laugh at you like we laugh at Mormons.
Yeah. If it wasn't passed on, from parents to their children. It wouldn't
But
exist.
it's ingrained in this society. It must be true. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck off.
How many things have been ingrained in society that turn out not to be true, but people just believe?
I mean, there's plenty of societies that believe in Islam, so what about them?
They're probably more correct than you are. At least Muhammad existed.
And we know he did.
Yeah.
Irrefutably.
Yeah.
Wow, man, we have this giant movement. What best explains that? So instead of them just sitting back and playing the uber skeptic, if you will, and just saying, well, I mean, it could have been this or it could have been that, to try to get them to a place where they agree to kind of look at it together, right? Add some legs to that for me, if you will.
Expound on what you're asking me.
Yeah, just why we need to be able to understand, look at our world together, and then come to the best explanation.
Okay, so I get what you're saying. So I think that is important, Tim, and I think it's exactly the conversation that I like to have with atheists.
Yeah.
Let's just take one thing, like morality. What best explains morality?
Right.
The fact that we're human creatures and creatures don't want certain things to happen to them, like being murdered or having the thing stolen, and like having the food stolen and stuff like that. So we decided that those were bad immoral things and we shouldn't do them because those are bad and immoral things because we don't want them to happen to us. And we can tell this, by the way, that there's different morals in different societies, even to this day. Like, morals come about because different groups of people think different group things should happen. That's just what it is.
We came to an agreement that we weren't going to do the bad things to each other because we didn't want the bad things to happen.
Yeah, like, come on. It's Christians that said that... These are the type of people that will say that it was Christians said we shouldn't kill people. And it's like, really? Christians are the ones that came up with don't kill people? Fuck off. No. Hammurabi came thousands of years before that. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. It ain't from the Bible. It's Hammurabi's law code. And that was before Jews, all right? Hinduism said to be nice to each other, right? And that was before the Jews. The Hinduism and Buddhism, that was before Christianity. Both say not to kill people. You guys didn't come up with morality. Religion didn't come up with morality. Religion tells you to kill people all the time. Religion tells you to do a lot of bad things all the time.
I like you and have no reason not to.
I like you and have no reason not to.
Hey, did you hear about that magic baby that was born in Bethlehem?
Yeah. If you suspect someone of being a witch, well, you may as well kill them, just to be sure. Yeah, because you're not allowed to suffer one to live.
Yeah.
Women are not allowed to talk out of turn. They should be silent.
Your Bible says that if a woman's on a period, she should be isolated from everyone. And if she even spots once, she should go back to isolation and then fulfill her purity cleansing afterwards. Go fuck yourself. You don't have the key on morality because you don't even understand what morality is. You just say there's these inbuilt things that we shouldn't do, even though people do it all the time. They like to go, people, like, there's just things that are just plain outright immoral. You don't want to kill a baby. And it's like, there's plenty of people that have thought it was perfectly moral to kill babies.
God, for instance.
Spartans, Aztecs, Toltecs. There's lots of human sacrifice throughout the ages.
Yeah.
And they all thought it was moral. The Spartans thought it was moral because you had to make the best soldiers to fight in all the wars. So you don't want deformed, weak babies. So they killed them and they thought it was moral. Tough titty. If the people around you think it's moral, guess what the morals of the group are? It's not a God-given thing. It just isn't.
Yeah, we decide our own morals, and they change. There's morals that Christians have that aren't in the Bible, and there's morals that they have that are the opposite in the Bible.
Yeah, it's like, if morals were all this, then, God should have said that it would be moral for everyone to have a bed to sleep and food to eat and water to drink.
Yeah, the basic, whose pyramid was it?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
They should be met, shouldn't they? It's moral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's so super moral that he didn't say that slavery was immoral, so go fuck yourself.
Right.
What best explains, reality, just in general?
Yeah, the existence of anything.
Reality. I mean, it's steady state theory. It's always existed. It popped into existence out of nothing. It's an illusion, or we're created.
Yeah.
Or it's a cyclic universe that has an expansion and contraction. The actual hypothesis of the cyclic universe. But that explains everything. And you don't like it because it doesn't leave room for a creator, then you can't really argue against that. So you don't even mention it.
One of the videos watching that Professor Brian Cox went through 6 different leading theories, hypotheses, but they say theory, I don't know why, they're hypotheses, right? And some people are like, all right, well, black holes could be the precipice to another universe that you could never get to because there's a barrier between it, and on the other side, another universe is born, and it might just fail and disappear.
There's all sorts of ideas about it, but we don't know and you don't know, so fuck off.
Yeah.
What's the best explanation for everything existing? It must be God, because you don't know, and it's like...
I don't understand, so I have to say no.
Just because we don't know for 100% for certain and you pretend to doesn't mean anything.
Because
it's all bluster. It's just bluster. You're just spewing hot air because you don't have a lick of proof.
Bluster.
And you really, really want it to be proof. So if you say it's proof enough, then people will eventually believe you. We say it's proof. We've said it 6,000 times. Come on, why don't you see it's proof? We've said it's proof. Why won't you believe me? It's proof. Fuck off.
Provide some proof. Just provide it.
Yeah, but they think they are. They think all this stuff is like just died in the fucking world. Obvious proof.
I don't think they understand what proof actually means, do they? If I say it loud enough, it becomes more true.
No, it's because they don't understand things, right? They have an idea of what science says about reality. They don't understand what it actually says about reality. And because they only understand a little bit of what science says, then they extrapolate that to all these fanciful things because they don't understand what it actually says. Because... well, I've watched a 5-minute video on YouTube that talked about it. Or, like, I was debating a guy and he said this, and it's like, dude, you don't even know if that guy is, like...
Yeah. That one
That's why...
isn't the...
That's why when we do scientific studies, we have a science... What is it called? Is it the plan? What is it? The outline of what the experiment is. And it tells you what the experiment is. What?
Parameters.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. There's an actual name for it, and I can't fucking think of it. And it tells you what question they're trying to answer, how they're going to achieve that, what they expect the results to be, right? And then they tell you how they do the experiment step by step, and what the control group is, and what the non-control group is, and if it's double-blind, and if it has this stuff. And then they put down the results, and they go, well, the results did not or did agree with our hypothesis. Right? Because you're always trying to disprove stuff, not trying to prove it. Because it's much easier to prove things when you're trying to prove them than actually finding out the real things when you're trying to disprove them. Because you can just go, well, see, if the brain works this way because they have one book that stopped being written hundreds of years ago, right? And they're like, this is all the answer we need. And then everybody else comes along and goes, yeah, but we have thousands upon thousands of studies that say you're wrong. We have piles and piles of archaeological evidence to say there was nothing here, or the thing that the Bible said that happened here didn't happen here. Like, the Bible says very specific places that Moses stayed, right? And it actually gives geological markers, right? And we have found some of these places because of the geological markers that it's left. We've not found one fucking hint of anybody living there in the time periods that it's supposed to have happened.
Yeah, like any settlements that were there well after the fact.
But that doesn't
Or
matter
destroyed before.
because they have one book that said it did. So it doesn't matter that we didn't find anything there, and we haven't found anything in this place, and we don't have any proof of this, and we don't know that David existed, and we have no proof of Adam and Eve, we have no proof of Noah, we have no proof of a global flood, we have no proof of Abraham, we have no proof of Moses, we have no proof of Jacob. Like, there's nothing. Just nothing. And they're like, oh, well, you didn't do your research enough? And it's like, oh my fucking God.
Rage, fucking rage!
Why don't you do your fucking research about what physics says? Why don't you do your fucking research about what chemistry says? Why don't you do your fucking research about what biology says, in psychology and archaeology, and actually look at what it says, instead of looking at some fucking headline that you looked on a YouTube page, or, oh, I saw it on my Facebook, it said, oh, shocking find, I found this, and you went, oh, that reports with what I believe, so it was 100% true. Let's not look into the veracity of the claims at all. Let's not look at who paid for the studies. Let's not look at how the studies were fucking done. Let's not look at the sample size either of this shit. We're just, well, it says what I want it to say, so it's fine. Why don't you actually read some fucking books? Why don't you actually read some fucking textbooks? Why don't you actually learn some shit instead of just going, well, a guy told me once that this is what they think, so this is what they think. Like, just fuck off. How about that? How about we do know more and more stuff about reality than you ever will? How about that? We have created such things that you and your Christianity and its wildest dreams would never be able to create. You know how we know that? Because as soon as we actually started thinking for ourselves and we didn't listen to assholes like you telling us what to do all the goddamn time, look what we fucking created. Because we decided to look at what was real and not what fucking assholes like you say.
And I mean, we don't live like this is an illusion.
Right.
So that doesn't really, help.
How the fuck would you know if you're living life like it's an illusion? How would you know? Because if it's an illusion, you wouldn't understand what actual reality is, would you? Because you wouldn't live in reality. You would live in an illusion, so you wouldn't fucking know.
No, they would definitely not know, because they would have no basis.
Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't think we live in an illusion. But that analysis of that fucking theory is so fucking stupid. It's unbelievable. Oh, it's like you wouldn't know.
We wouldn't be able to tell.
Because you wouldn't know what reality is. Just like you don't know what a created universe looks like, and just like you don't know what a non-creative universe looks like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. None of us do. So stop pretending you do, you disingenuous fuck.
Things don't pop into existence.
They do. Quarks, motherfucker. Virtual particles. Suck a dick. They pop in and out of existence. We watch it fucking happen. Yeah, it's not quarks, is it? It's gluons.
Gluons, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Gluons make quarks. And, so...
We watch it happen. We have watched electrons pop in and out of existence. We've watched it happen. So go fuck yourself. You don't understand what the fuck you're talking about, and you're talking like you're a fucking authority, and you don't know jack.
Because if you ignore all the evidence, you could be correct.
He's not even ignoring the evidence, he just doesn't know it exists, because he's never bothered looking.
See, they might have not bothered looking, but some of them obviously have to have seen some of these articles pop up that go, this has just proved this, and they go, well, and they purposefully ignore it, and they know the existence of it, they just don't.
Yeah, but I think that's why they talk around certain subjects, you know what I mean?
Like
He's just saying, oh, things don't pop in and out of existence when we know they definitely do. And it's irrefutable. We can watch it happen.
It's like we don't know where they've gone, or where they've come from.
Yeah.
Or whether they have actually gone somewhere, or come from somewhere, and...
Yeah. Because, hey, why should we ever bother to look at what they're doing at the Large Hadron Collider and all the things they're finding out there? Why should we ever bother to look these things up?
Do you know what the Higgs boson means?
No, they don't.
Yeah.
As it's been famously said many times before, out of nothing comes.
Yeah, nothing comes.
And you know what I say? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence and not shitty false assertions and false syllogisms.
Steady state theory has been refuted with second law of thermodynamics, the expansion of the universe, and things like that. I
mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but it's not proving his point either.
No, but he is correct. We have disproved a steady state universe. So
string theory went bye-bye. Yeah.
That's not string theory.
I'm sure he said string theory, didn't he?
No, he said a steady state universe. What he means is a universe that's always existed is unchanging. So he's kind of right. He just doesn't know why he's right.
Yeah, and he probably won't elaborate any further as to.
No, of course he doesn't. He's just going to move on to the next thing.
I think the story fits better the overall narrative that we're looking to make sense of in this world. See, here's the deal. A lot of times people have a problem with Christianity because they have a problem with a God who's going to judge their sex life.
Right.
Oh, that's a fucking jump, isn't it?
It is.
Going from, well, here's the reasons, here's the really bad, weak reasons why. I think that, he mentioned 4 versions of the universe and only said something about 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And then what? And then just jump into, they just want to fuck weird, man. That's why they don't want to believe. They don't like guns and doesn't like the way they fuck. And it's like...
It's not the murders or anything, is it? Or
Or the fact that it's highly unprovable and we can disprove many of your claims. That's nothing to do with that. It's just because they want to do it in the butt. Fuck off.
I mean, but listen, there's things with Christianity in the story that's hard for me to relate to, Tim, when I look back and think, okay, there's some bizarre things going on in culture, but I don't want to have chronological snobbery just because I'm far removed. Like, I think...
Fuck off, yes you should. You are living by a different standard than the Bible tells you, and the Bible is the inerrant word of God, and you're saying that there's stuff in the Bible that you don't like. So what, like, come on, really? Fuck off.
I don't want to be a chronological snub.
If the Bible is the inerrant word of God, it's the inerrant word of God forever. Not just for the fucking time period, it applies for now. So fuck you! I hate this man.
That people think there's bizarre things in our culture.
Of course.
Get a sex change in our culture.
Right.
I mean, there's all kinds of things that would be really bizarre to the ancient culture about our culture. So
Yeah.
Boo-hoo! Doesn't matter. The word of God should be everlasting, and it shouldn't matter if it was given in fucking 1200 BC, fucking 7 AD, or right now. It should be the same forever, because if God is the ultimate arbiter of ultimate justice and ultimate morality and ultimate fucking everything, his word is unchanging and his law is unchanging. So it doesn't matter, right? You should live exceedingly by all of God's laws, because God said you should live exceedingly by all of his laws, otherwise you will fall off the path to heaven. And if you want to decide that all that stuff is too weird for you and you don't want to do it, God doesn't give a shit, because it's what he told you to do way back when, and that's forever.
If you live on this planet, you're guilty, period. Fuck you, end of report. Next case. Next fucking case.
This is the ultimate cherry picking of the parts of the Bible I like and I'm going to follow, and the parts
exactly.
I'm not going to follow.
Because cunts like this think they know better than the God they purport to fucking worship, that's all-knowing and unfucking knowable.
Yeah, that God that knows better than you, and they know God, but God can't be known. That God. No, you're a prick.
How dare you say that you are better than God and you know better than God? What, you have to follow all of God's rules. All of them. I bet that's a mixed fabric shirt, isn't it?
Looks to be.
How's that Christmas ham? You know what I mean? You want to pick and choose what rules you have in the Bible? You against slavery? God says it's okay. Like, come on. God says that you should abort babies that were made by cheating. Literally tells you that you drink this special bitter drink, and then if the baby was created by adultery, then the baby dies, and God says that's righteous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to go, oh, it's weird that fucking, people want to have sex changes. The Bible doesn't say jack shit about sex changes, motherfucker. So if you want to say that God or Jesus or Paul or anything wants to say anything about sex changes, they didn't, because they didn't know that it could possibly happen. Because they weren't in an advanced society that has medical procedures and knowledge of the human body far beyond anyone that had anything to do with the writing of that fucking book. So, go fuck yourself. You don't understand reality. You don't understand biology. You literally don't understand anything because you're too busy having one book that just rules your entire life. And, you know, if something's a bit weird, well, I bet it was in the Bible somewhere. Fuck off.
Shouldn't think that we've arrived at normalcy.
Yeah.
We are a bizarre culture in many ways ourselves. I mean, I've said before, like, you know, people talk about we're slouching toward Gomorrah. No, we've become Gomorrah. We are Gomorrah. So when you think about the ancient world, there's things that I can't relate to. It doesn't make sense, but
name one. Why don't you put your doubts out there? Go on, you want to fucking lambast other people for not believing the same shit you do, but you want to purport, well, I have trouble with some of it. Well, fucking name some of it and how you overcome it. Why don't you do that shit? Maybe that might actually help people come around to your point of view, instead of being a sanctimonious piece of shit that just says everybody else is wrong and it's obvious that you obviously have all the fucking answers. Fuck off!
The overall storyline of what explains best how we got here. What explains best what's broken with us. What explains best this desire that we have to be loved by a God and to be complete with him?
That is not an urge that fucking anyone has out. Name one fucking child who goes, hey, why doesn't God love me? Without anybody telling him about fucking religion. It isn't inbuilt. It's fucking literally beat into you, either figuratively through fucking harassment and badgering by parents and outside forces, or actually beaten into you. Unbelief. Fuck off. Name one fucking person that ever gave a shit about God before they learned about him. No one, because it's not an inbuilt feeling, dickhead. the feeling of loss that some atheists and non-believers feel by not having this other thing looking at them is because people like you fucking brainwash children and put this shit into their heads, and then because you do it at a formative age, it sticks with them forever. That's why even people that are 100 like me, that are 100% fucking certain that all your shit is 100% fucking lies, right? Get a little afraid of hell. Just because it was ingrained in you in such an early age, it doesn't go away. So go fuck yourself. It's not inbuilt.
What explains best the sense that we have? And this is not just a Christian sense that we're going to exist beyond the grave.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to die and we can't figure out how to comport with the fact that we won't exist one day. So we have to make up some fucking fairy tales that, well, if we believe in this thing enough, then we get to live forever. So don't worry about death. Death doesn't matter.
Yeah, we can't see a universe without us perceiving it. We just can't. It's difficult to think about. We can't imagine not perceiving anything.
Yeah. The fact that we are creatures that like to tell stories means that we have a beginning, middle, and end of everything, and we have a curiosity for how things work and how to do things means that if we can't explain it, then there must be some greater force, because we exist, that it affects something in the world, and we're not the greatest things out there. Look at how big everything is. There must be things greater than us out there. So, and they must have sentience like we do. We can't be the only thing that thinks and talks. It all comes from some fucking self-biased bullshit story that I don't want to be alone. And then you come up with enough arguments that idiots will believe because you don't want to fucking educate everyone properly. You don't want to teach them understanding of anything. No, you want to keep them at home, make them do the homeschooling so you can teach them what bullshit you want to do, innit?
I think Christianity makes best sense of this overarching narrative that we are created by a God that loves us, that something went awry with the fall, that we are broken as people, and we're trying to blame our brokenness on other people, we're trying to blame our brokenness on anything, but our brokenness is resulted in the fact that we have morally failed God's ideal for us.
No, we didn't. We didn't morally fail God's ideal for us. You know how we know? Because if God does exist and he does know everything, and he has this big plan that is ineffable, right? Then he made us as he made us, right? And everything that has happened is supposed to happen, and God knew it was going to happen. And the failure isn't on us. The failure is on him, because he created us to do the things that he wanted us to do. So if he already knew that all this shit was going to happen and he set it in motion, he's the one that knew that all this was going to... Oh my fucking God.
So if you failed, you've been set up to fail. It's quite that simple.
No, you just want to blame other people because other people do bad things to people. And other people set up bad institutions to fuck over other people, so we blame them, dickhead.
And your life is so devoid of meaning that you have to make it up.
God gives you meaning in life. No, you should give meaning to your own fucking life, and not an invisible sky daddy so you can feel special, because no one else makes you feel special. That's part of it, really, isn't it? Is that you want this warmth and connection that you don't really feel from other people, because no one ever agrees with you 100%, right? And because no one ever agrees with you 100%, it makes people feel on the outs because they want more people to agree with them. Oh, the whole world is out there and nobody agrees with me. God does, because he agrees with all of us because we believe in him. And it makes all the best sense. It just makes all the best sense. You haven't said why it makes the best sense. You just keep on asserting that it does make the best sense. Why don't you actually... You've had a whole fucking half an hour fucking podcast to try and elucidate on fucking anything, and you can't actually go further than the littlest scratch on the paint, because easy intuitive answers are easy. And they're easy to fool fucking morons and idiots that don't know stuff. Because it doesn't matter. The veracity of your claims doesn't matter. That's not what you're trying to get. You're trying to get homogeneity of thought, so everybody will say and do the same things that you do, so everybody can look around at each other and go, aren't we just the best Christians living all by the same rules? Even though you don't all live by the same fucking rules. You have 20 billion different denominations that say all these different shit, and you all act like you're one big fucking group that all agree with each other, and you don't. Half of you say the other half aren't even real Christians because they don't agree 100% with what you do. So you can't even get together with what the fucking real story is. So why don't you go fuck yourself trying to make out like it's bad that atheists have different lines of thought? So do you.
Christianity best fits this narrative that I've just set up. No, you just spent ages setting up your own narrative just to say that Christianity fits it best. No, fuck off. Does not fit it best. In fact, it fits it the worst right now.
as image bearers. We don't reflect him. But a Redeemer has come in the person of Jesus to die on a cross for our sins, rise from the grave. And we see the power of that story in the church as it grew. And then the fact that we're going to live with God forever. That makes better sense of a story. Which, by the way, too...
It makes better sense if you're a selfish son of a bitch and you only care about self-interest and not the truth.
It's a theory, evolution.
Fuck off! This is what I was talking about before. I don't want to be lumped... We don't want to lump all the atheists together into fundamental angry atheists like we don't want to be lumped in with fundamentalist Christians. Oh, evolution's just a theory. Do you know what a theory means, asshole? Of course you do. You've spouted this, so you've probably been told umpteen times from fucking everyone that what a theory means is a proven hypothesis because we don't make laws in science anymore because we're not that fucking stupid anymore. Theory doesn't mean, I don't know. It means we're pretty sure. That's what theory means in a scientific sense. Why don't you learn the context of the words that you're trying to use instead of just using fucking spouting buzzwords that you've heard from knobheads like Ken Ham and fucking Ray Comfort or whatever fucking knobheads you listen to. It's just a theory. Yes, it is just a theory. Proven. That's what it means. Proven.
We have a scientific consensus from hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of scientists. Who all, peer-reviewed it. And they've run trials and tests and garnered evidence, and anything that needed to change about it has been changed so far. And if you find something new, it will change it again. But nothing you've said fits it at all. And
No, but
it's
it's just
fit.
theory. It's just theory. It's just a theory. It's just a theory. Look how stupid it is. It's just a theory. They believe just a theory. Yes, we do believe a lot of theories. And you know what the fun thing about theories is? They're proven hypothesis. So go fuck yourself.
We talk about it as if like that's just this perfect story that has no falsity whatsoever. That's a theory.
Yes, it is just a theory. And it's not a perfect theory, right? Because we're still discovering stuff about it, like epigenetics. But we can prove it in such a way that... You ever seen a banana? Like, you know they're not nature's bananas, right? You do realize that corn isn't nature's corn. You do realize that dogs aren't nature's dogs, right? You do realize that we've genetically modified so much fucking shit that, like, literally we can make mice glow in the dark because we're that good at fucking changing genetics in people. We know how it works so much we can make mice glow in the fucking dark from octopus DNA. Like, fuck off. You don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. You're just being a flippant knobhead saying flippant knobhead Christian things because you don't understand anything outside of, well, I gotta believe.
And if it came to a point where they'd have to understand something, they would purposefully ignore it as best they can, unless it fits the narrative.
Hey, Christian boy, why don't you go talk to Francis Collins, another Christian, who will tell you to go fuck yourself on the theory of evolution, because he fucking he helped map the human fucking genome, and he knows how it fucking works. You want to bring up atheists that turn to Christians? Well, let's talk about Christians that believe our shit, because they worked on it fucking tooth and nail for years. How about that? How about we look at Christians that have found out things that bolster our point of view and not yours? How about that? Should we do that for a bit? Why don't you go talk to Francis Collins? Why don't you ask him about evolution? You want to talk about, oh, sure. Fuck off. You want to...
I don't really want to talk to these people, though, because then it would ruin the narrative.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
These people are inconvenient to them.
Wow, that is fantastic. So I think there's a lot that we could go into when it comes to how to talk to an atheist and how to understand where they're coming from and kind of weighing those different worldviews. And I think we tried our best to be able to navigate some of those different conversations. Any closing thoughts that you might have around some of that? Any kind of tie-ups that we could just put a bow on this?
Well, I think that atheists or Muslims or whoever we're talking to are people who are creating the image of God.
Right.
And when we're...
He said it correctly before. That was a directly derogatory term.
Yeah, Muslims.
Yeah, because he said Muslims before.
building relationships as we should, we need to recognize that these are people that God loves, that we can have a friendship with people that view things differently. And, we need to recognize the importance of pursuing people, and we got to make sure that people don't feel used by us. I remember I was in our neighborhood years ago, and I was spending time with some non-believers, and I found myself as a Christian and as a pastor hanging out with them, and I was drawn to them from the fact they wanted to be with me, and it wasn't because they were trying to convert me to anything. They just wanted to be with me.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes what people can feel from us as Christians is, do we just want to be with a non-believer because they're our project? We got to convert them, and if they don't hurry up and get saved, then we're just going to go on. They're still people. And God has given us a world full of people that we get the wonderful opportunity of loving, and we believe that our eyes have been enlightened, and we get...
You condescending piece of shit.
Yeah,
That's one of the most fucking condescending things I've heard a Christian say. You just want to be around. Go fuck yourself.
They really wanted to be around me.
Maybe they liked you as a person and didn't give a shit about your Christianity.
If he wasn't proselytizing to them, they probably didn't hate him for it.
Yeah, it's weird. One of my old friends is a Mormon, right? And we got along famously. Do you know why? Because we didn't talk about fucking religion. I bet if you went to these group of unbelievers, instead of proselytizing all the time, they wouldn't see you anymore. Because they don't want to hear it.
Yeah, plus you're going to be lying to them.
Yeah.
And they're going to pull you up on the lies, and you're going to get upset with them because they're going to pull you up on your lies and tell you why you're lying and where you're wrong. And
It's like my old friend Beard's mother. She was a devout Catholic, and we had great times arguing about Christianity because we both knew we weren't going to convert the other one, so it didn't matter. And we could talk about it as equals because we had respect for each other. That's what happens with friendship. You find common grounds and you have other things in common other than I believe in God. And if the two people are copacetic enough, they can discuss this without being dicks to each other. Respect is earned, not given, right? And just thinking like, oh well, it's really nice, that we shouldn't try and convert them, but you totally are. You can't do an entire fucking video podcast going, hey, right, we should treat atheists this way, and we should walk him down this line of thought to get to this understanding because we want him to have this understanding, and then finish it by going, I had a really nice time with them as long as we didn't talk about it.
to share the gospel, but we don't have to coerce them. We don't have to freak out. We don't have to panic. We can love them and give them space to go on a journey. Whether or not they trust Jesus, we have the opportunity to be what I call fifth gospel Christians. And that is letting people see the light of the gospel in and through our life.
Well,
God. The only way you get followers is by coercing them, really. You pick a vulnerable person, you coerce them. You pick a child, you coerce them. It's constant coercion. There's no other way into religion beyond coercing people.
It's just so fucking dumb. Right? I just want this.
well, that is fantastic. So thank you for tuning in.
Fuck you. Goodbye.